What's going on, everyone? So as you can tell by the title of today's video, my 2008 Subaru Legacy GT is in need of some help. So we're gonna hop in the car, go for a cruise, and talk about it. So from last week's video, which was the install on the Cobb SF short ram intake, as well as loading up the Stage 1 93 Cobb map off of the access port, at that time and at the end of the video, everything seemed to be running well and I was happy with how things went. But later that night, I went out for a cruise, did some pulls, some hard acceleration, some wide open throttles, and the problem came about there, which it was pretty much amplified from what it was. And what I mean by that is, from when I bought this car, really hard wide open throttles and accelerations weren't that smooth. I wouldn't say they were sputtery or much of a hesitation, but they just weren't that smooth. So putting on this intake and doing the tune has definitely amplified the problem. Not caused the problem, but it's definitely amplified it. So what I noticed the problem started to be was there would be a sputtering and hesitation around like 3,500 to 4,200 when you were either a hard acceleration or under a full boost type setting. I would be getting this sputter or hesitation. Now I can gradually build up and go past this with really no problem whatsoever. It was really under like a hard acceleration or full boost where I would get this hesitation and sputter. And then this hesitation and sputter sometimes would also feel like just like a boom, you're not fucking going any faster, power's locked off, and I'm gonna fall on my face right here. That's what it felt like to me. And it was getting really annoying. And I did a couple things that night to see what the results were after what I did, and then I ended up going home and reading some forums, and I was really surprised. I've been reading the forums for the last like 4 or 5 days now. It's been crazy. I've been spending hours on the forums, and my mind has just been going crazy at what I've been either learning, figuring out, reading, or so forth. And I'm just getting really overwhelmed at the amount of problems that this issue seems to be. This is a really common problem that I've seen, this sputtering and hesitation problem. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a boost leak or this. It could be a variety of things I've come to find out. There's about 8 to 10 common things that people do to their cars to try to fix this, all logical things that never fix the problem. So right now, we're not going to talk about that. We'll get to that in a second. So I have plugged in my access port, gone for some drives just to see what the numbers and where things were at. And I also ended up meeting up with a friend who knows a good amount about Subarus, as I am no Subaru or turbo car expert. This is my first turbo car. I know the basics and how things work, but by any means, I still have a lot to learn about turbo cars. So anyways, I met up with him. We did some data logging, looked at the numbers, and before I met up with him and when I met up with him, these things came into place. So I was able to sometimes hit all the way up to 15.8 to 16.1 pounds of boost. I was able to hit up to 15.8 to 16.1 pounds of boost at some times with no problems. Sometimes it would hesitate and sputter, but I would get up to that 15 pounds of boost. And then there was other times where I would either sputter, not be able to hold, or not be able to push over 8 pounds of boost. So that's what it seems to be right now, that either sometimes I can hit up to that 15 to 16 pounds of boost, or I'm not going over the magic number of 8 pounds of boost for some reason. So obviously there is a boost leak here. That may not be the end-all, be-all resolution here. It could be a boost leak that may fix the problem, or it could be a boost leak and something else that I need to address to fix this problem. But it just sucks right now because I can be out and sometimes not have a problem at all, and then other times I'm either falling on my face or I can't even get past 8 pounds of boost. Like I said, I am new to Subarus and turbo cars, so there's plenty of stuff I need to learn and know. But that's why I am reaching out to you guys right now for help, for any suggestions or anything to help me out with this situation here. So I did end up doing a somewhat type of boost leak test where you get a bottle of like super soapy water, spray it on all the vacuum lines, the fittings, and then rev your engine to see if any of those spots where you sprayed would bubble up or anything, because obviously, boom, there would be your boost leak. So right now I am paying more attention to the turbo inlet, as there are about 4 things that come in and out of that, making that more likely to have a boost leak right there than any other place. Like I said, I've checked around a couple of the vacuum lines and the intercooler blow-off valve and so forth, and I wasn't able to find a leak or a bubble myself at that point. I also read up on the forums that the end of the turbo inlet, or the piece that goes right on the face or the shroud of the turbo that gets clamped onto the turbo, that deteriorates down over time, and that could either rip, crack, break, or create your leak right there. So I'm really hoping that maybe that's where the leak comes from. So I just did order a turbo inlet. That's coming in the mail hopefully in the next couple of days or so. I was planning on doing an upgraded turbo inlet in the future. Not right now, but hey, what are you gonna do? So we got that on order. I also ordered a new gasket for the intercooler and a gasket for the blow-off valve. So when I do take off the intercooler to get down and change out that turbo inlet, which, yes, I've talked to a couple friends and seen a video, and it looks like a pain in the ass to change that out, but I'm gonna try to do that myself with a friend. We're definitely gonna get it done, but it's gonna be a pain in the ass. So I'm hoping that fixes it, but like I said in the beginning of this video, it could be a boost leak. Well, it's definitely a boost leak, but it may be a boost leak in conjunction with something else. Also, I'm gonna try to get the noise for you guys here in a second. It's just like that. Sometimes I'll hit 15, sometimes I won't even be able to get my face over 8 pounds of boost. So with that being said, there's also a noise. Oh shit, Acura, that's an Audi R8. Sorry about that. Got distracted for a second. So like I was saying, in conjunction with the, sometimes I can hit 15 pounds of boost or so. I think the stock boost on these are like 13.5 or 14 pounds. Totally correct me if I'm wrong here. But that would mean I'm hitting a little bit over boost. And then sometimes I can't even hit over 8 pounds of boost, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But so also sometimes I get this noise that's almost like a, I really don't know how to explain it. It's sort of like a whiplash effect to the turbo noise over there. But it's right up here, right in front of me, almost like my blow-off valve. But like I said, I've checked for lines or the gasket, which I haven't took off yet, but I've spray tested it and haven't been able to find a leak. But every once in a while as well, I get this extra noise that comes from what looks to be right by the blow-off valve, if not the blow-off valve. And it's sort of like a, almost like a broken cough, screwed up lung that like sounds off right like a split millisecond before you get the turbo noise after lifting off the pedal. There may be a chance, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe a component or something in the blow-off valve is broken, and every once in a while, I don't know why. If it was broken, why isn't it doing that all the time? And if I'm not able to reach boost, why am I able to reach boost sometimes and not able to reach boost sometimes? So it's definitely a very frustrating time to figure out what this is. I went into this, I know Subarus to the extent that they could be a problem, they could be a money pit. Subarus are super finicky and super sensitive, if not the most finicky and sensitive car of all. Like it's crazy. And I knew that, so it is what it is. I knew that coming into this car, but the other overwhelming thing here is that I've been reading up on the forums, and set aside from a boost leak, just that sputter and hesitation could be a multitude of problems. This could also cause you to run lean, which I have yet again gotten a P0171, which is a Bank 1 system running to lean, and advised with that and all logical solutions within this sputter and hesitation problem, you would check out the MAF sensor, make sure the MAF sensor is not dirty, or you would replace the MAF sensor, check your O2 sensors or replace them, check all your vacuum leaks for check all your vacuum lines for a leak, or replace your vacuum lines if anything looks to be crappy, old, or so forth. Also, to check your spark plugs. You may have to change your spark plugs, change your coil packs, change your fuel filter, your fuel pump. Oh my God, the list just goes on. I've read so many stories, I'm not even kidding you, about probably about 80 to 100 different threads, not just people. People chime in all the time. Oh, I have the same problem. How'd you fix it? This, that. I've read about 80 to 110 threads on forums of people having these problems, and so many other people doing all these 8, 10, 12, 13 different things, and their problem still sits the way it's been. So I'm really hoping that this is not what this turns out to be. Hoping that turbo inlet fixes the problem, or the gaskets on the intercooler and blow-off valve. Also, quickly, I'm gonna hop right back on the road to see if I can get that noise for you guys, to see what that is. I really think maybe something in the blow-off valve is broken, but I wasn't able to get any leaks off of the blow-off valve, which is weird, but it's just a noise that I hear every once in a while. That's almost like it's still a release of air, but it's like a choking, like you have like a dying out lung. Oh, was that it? Then it doesn't do it then. All right, that just happened. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I know you can definitely hear the turbo after we installed the intake, but I'm right by a state trooper barracks, so I'm gonna chill out for a second. All right, let's see. Stay in fourth. It just went off, so I don't know. I'm hoping you guys can hear what that is. It's right, like I said, right up front here. It sounds to be like the blow-off valve right around there, if not the blow-off valve itself. But and now it's constantly. Now you can constantly hear it. So I hope you can hear that. And whether it's a piece of the blow-off valve that's broken or whatnot, I wasn't able to get a leak on the blow-off valve or any lines coming off. So the other frustrating thing is that my air to fuel ratio seems to be pretty good, so I'm just up in the air of what this could be. My air to fuel ratio upon idle is around 14 to 14.2, and then obviously upon acceleration it's anywhere between like 11 and 12, so everything seems to be pretty good between there. So I'm really up in the air as what this could be. So any input or feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're stopping by for the first time, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button so we can get this out to as many people as we can to help us out and get this problem addressed. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time. Take care.